Hello and welcome back to Reassembly. I'm your host Spirit Bounceholder and we'll be looking at the Helios faction this time around. So, I've already tried to make this video, so I've actually run into a little snag of significant drops in speed, not in frames mind you, but the reassembly way of throttling the resources it uses. And that's because of a little issue that the Helios faction has. We'll probably run into that later. But regardless, for now, I reckon that these colors should do fine. A nice shade of red and cyan, which switches out. So let's go into the game. And here we are, the Helios faction. You can already see the crazy kind of ships that you can make with the Helios faction. And that is not so much just a choice as much as it is also a necessity because of the way that the Helios faction is designed. We'll show you that in a moment, but for now, let's see what the ship can do. Well, we can fire some nice lasers, which actually don't seem to use any power. We are very slowly producing R because our command module is also a solar panel, as you can see. Oh dear, frames rate is a little bit caving in. Yeah, as I was saying, the Helios faction has one little snag, and that is with one of the weapons they designed for this faction. It's very cool weapon. It is a sort of doom laser, if you will. The issue is with the way the doom laser, you saw one there, is actually made or actually configured in this game. It is got a very long trail, meaning it exists after you fire it for a very long time, and that takes up a lot of resources. That's somewhat of an issue, but it shouldn't be too big of an issue once we really get and roam by ourselves. As you can see, oh dear, that was, oh gosh, we might actually get destroyed already. As you can see, we're a bit like the spiky plants. We have also those kinds of plants that inhibit asteroids, and they also fire a lot of missiles. So it's not very hard to guess where the inspiration for this faction came from. Nonetheless, we actually have the laser weapons, and we actually do also have that spiky plant weapon on the back of us. That little spiky thingy, obviously. That thing will actually auto fire. So the moment you get close to an enemy, it will automatically start firing. Basically the way the spiky plants would also respond. And that is somewhat nice and somewhat annoying. Because it really isn't that functional the way it currently is. In general, our design for a ship right now isn't very functional. Mostly because it has very little focus. Its weapons are spread out, meaning that you will be able to cause quite a bit of damage in a small radius, but at a specific target is going to be somewhat harder. Won't be the biggest of issue with most enemies, but we're in an area now where they use rockets, and the rockets are somewhat of an issue when it comes to us. So we should claim a station, get some credits. Ooh. Make sure that we actually can get the resources we need to start and make a proper ship. I will want to make the first ship, just as with the last bit for the Tinkerol. I will make the first ship I design on camera in the middle of it. Not sped up, just whilst playing the first episode. Because then you can also get a bit more insight into the basic structure of the weapon of the faction. Because most of the factions doesn't usually matter what kind of weapons you have. Usually they all work in similar fashions. You can all adapt to them. But what really is going to determine how you build your ship often is the way the general parts work. Oh dear, we are getting destroyed a bit. I'm not sure actually if that is a vanilla faction. Or it's the contestants? I think it's the contestants, but I'm not entirely sure to be honest. Ooh, they dropped some nice juicy. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Come on, upwards, upwards, get it, yes. Okay, now to that station. Now to that station, come on. If we can make it, yes. Ah, there we go. Then we get the credits for it, thank God. Because otherwise that would have all gone to waste. And that would be a real shame. Press this button because tutorial asks us to. And let's take a look at our ship. Now you might start to get an idea of why this is such a curious faction. You can see all these individual parts that make up these tentacles, I suppose you would call them. And you can also see that these thingies are are very much just random direction torpedo launchers, actually torpedoes. Oh yes, very curious faction. We have a little bit of credits now, so I suppose we should get some for it. Cysts and stomachs. Yeah, we do need those because they store store resources, and we will need that. So I'll get a cyst for now. We can see if we can actually make something nice of the ship, because that's going to be somewhat harder. It's not actually a normal faction what you're used to. And these also use melee weapons. So you can see melee damage multiplier is 600%, which basically means if you strike an enemy with this point, with this weapon, instead of doing the normal amount of damage of just a collision, it will now do 600 times or 6 times that damage, which will usually result in you getting hardly any damage and the enemy getting so much damage that they just fall apart. Oh yes. Out of firing. But let's see if we can make something nice. We need a few cysts. So let's plunk them on first. I don't know if we need a hammer. It might actually be a fun idea to implement a hammer into a design. Again, it's also a melee weapon, and it is quite sturdy as well, as you would expect from a hammer. The cysts are actually somewhat weaker, so we should try and protect them a little bit. I actually want to make a flesh mass here. Yeah. Now you get a slight idea of why this faction is so interesting and at the same time so hard to properly design. You are constantly working with curves. It is almost impossible to say like connect this part to this part. You can try and go into corners, but generally you will end up being stuck and wondering how am I going to do this. So generally you don't want to do this. Now they look like they match up here, but we would want to place something like this in place of it, but it's not linking up, and that basically means that it's not functional. It needs to be connected on both sides to actually be more than just all before it actually is attached to that point, before it can actually sprout from that point, which is what you generally want to have. You generally want to have it so that blocks can sprout from there. I think I also want to use a spike for the front. I've tried using those before and they actually, see, now we can actually make a very neat curve here. It's a little bit more natural. And something else that I also know is somewhat effective is to make actually just a complete full circle, which is actually very easy to do, surprisingly. And it is a valid strategy. But I don't know if we can actually do that in this case. The radius of that circle isn't suitable in this case, so probably won't be able to do that. We won't be able to link these two parts up, even though it looks like it should. I mean, yeah. this point you could literally... Could you? Perhaps we can actually link those up. Yeah, probably not. Probably not. No. Maybe like this? Make it smaller? No. No. See, that's the issue you're gonna be constantly running into. And it's both frustrating but also very interesting because it forces you to construct ships differently and start to think about them differently. Uh, that's really interesting, I find, but it is also very challenging and it is definitely harder. It is definitely quite a challenge to properly design them. So what I'm doing now here, these things look the same, but these are actually lances, and those are the things you saw before, those energy beams. Now I hope that they cross around at the same point, which they seem to be doing, because that means that these two will actually have a focal point, and if I get my enemies at that focal point, they will do the maximum amount of damage at that specific point, and that's very, very much what I would like to accomplish. The range isn't fantastic though. Perhaps it would be wiser to use a spear. That's the thing. A spear, this thing has actually a turret, as you can see, and that makes it so much easier to use. But its damage is literally, it does 100 damage per second less. And the energy consumption is the same. The range is actually worse. And for the rest, it's pretty much the same. But that's an issue. That actually means that if you can manage the spears, or if you use the spears, those are actually much less efficient than when you use the lance. But the lance is so much harder to use, so it's a trade-off. It's definitely something you have to carefully consider when making a ship like this. I actually think we should make this thing a little bit more spiky. So let's use something like this. I know it looks like I'm removing whole parts of the ship, and I am doing that, but if you don't do that, you'll be running into snags constantly. Because you can't just expect things to work the same way after you add something even as simple as this. It's still a triangle that is going to alter the curve of these tentacles, and that's really something to be keeping in mind. But now we have a bit more spiky effect, meaning that we would be more easily inclined. Yeah, it would simply be a lot easier to just smash into something and cause havoc that way. Can we? Oh, that's nice. That's nice. We can actually connect those. I know they clip through. The game is not flawless in that regard. But if they connect, that's all that matters to me. That's all that matters, because that means that this spike, this thorn, will grow forth from this cyst, and this just perfectly links up. That will make the structure so much more reliable, because if it gets damaged, it is regenerated in no time, and otherwise it would really take a long time. Now in general, the Helios doesn't recover super quickly, but it's still, you always have to keep it in mind. You always simply have to keep in mind that regeneration speed and using it appropriately. Knots. I really don't know why these things are here, but they're quite sturdy. Might be something worth considering. I wonder, could we place a lance there? No, they're diverging. That's a little bit disappointing. Diverging beams will never meet. If they would, that would be very strange, because that would mean that a very integral law of nature is not correct, but it would be so much more convenient in our case right now. What can we really do? Let's just complete this thingy and copy that over to the other side, and now we actually have a place where we can at least add some propulsion, which is very, very important as well, of course. Some nice rotation speed. That's something these spikes are super convenient for making high rotation speeds, because they are so Uh, so much poking out. We don't have a lot of weapons. But to be honest, aren't a whole lot of weapons that are very easy to use for the Helios. This would be a nice ramming ship, but I would really like to use these lances, but I don't know how to use these lances properly. Because one way or another, you're going to end up with somewhat of a diverging beam. I do not like that. Maybe if we do something like this. Oh yes, that could actually work. It's a bit odd, but it will have a better effect than otherwise. And we can actually put another one on the side there, because those will converge as well. And that will give us another focal point. Again, not the most effective, because we now have two focal points instead of one, but it still is a lot more valuable than we would have just not used those at all. And I think that we could actually use some tumors on those sides. These things actually work a lot better than you would expect. You would expect these to just fire randomly. No, these don't fire randomly. These actually are somewhat trying to aim. And that's really interesting because I at start did not think they would be able to. And in some cases they really don't properly do it, but sometimes these things will save your life. Like, really, really useful. Very, very curious thing is indeed. A bit curious, should I? I guess I should actually, like that. I suppose that we could use a few spears here. That's also a nice thing. That's a nice thing, for once a nice thing about the Helios, is that the branches are the same shape as the spears and the lances. So if you feel like I need some more weapons, well, just replace a branch with a spear or replace it with a lance, and suddenly you've got more weapons, and things still work exactly the same and look exactly the same, and jolly times be had. I would really think that you could place one there. That's disappointing again. That would be magnificent if I could place a spear there, but I can't. I can't. So, we still have a lot of P left, so what should we do with that stuff? Replacing this with a spine means again that we would have to replace the whole thing. These aren't very sturdy, and that's somewhat of an issue, but I also like having those melee weapons, so but they are somewhat integral to the structure, so I'm always struggling with making a ship that I feel truly satisfied about with the Helios. And once I finally had one that I was truly satisfied with, it was just a big circle. I know it is very silly, but it worked perfectly. But all those designs up to that point were a bit mediocre. It's a bit disappointing. Eh. Can't I link those up? I would like to link those up, but I can't, can I? No. Somewhat of a disappointment again. No, I actually could. Oh, why the hell not? Just add lances like this, because we also have lances like here, so that's even more focal points. And they're cheap, they're powerful, and there's just no reason why we wouldn't replace some of them. I think actually that the ship looks fine the way it is, I guess. We'll just have to make some slight adjustments. The ship shifted a little. I don't know if you noticed that, but yeah. Look, here's a small gap now, and these don't clip anymore. It's I really don't like that, because that means that your design itself is getting a little less the way you initially designed it. But at the same time, it sometimes also makes it a bit more proper looking, like it is now. So yeah, eh, it's inevitable, I guess. We'll place another spear there. That's a simple rule about lasers, luckily. If they're weak, don't worry, just place more of them. Just use more. Horribly inefficient, but it works. I want to place another one over there, but I can't. Why can't I? Place one on the back, I could probably, but could I perhaps? Yeah, those don't link up, do they? Does a spine look up? Link up? Probably not either. And so we are a bit unsure of what to do next. We could place another tumor, but maybe we just have to sacrifice those points for it. Then we would have to sacrifice those as well. And we can. Little trick. I suppose this might actually work alright if we add some additional thrusters. Have to remove those. I hope it is nimble enough. We'll see. It looks somewhat funny, so who knows? Maybe it'll work out. Oh, of course they're shooting at me already. As long as you're getting damaged, nothing is getting generated either, so you're really just stuck until that barrage stops. And you can see, advantage if they kill us means that we just respawn and have a whole ship again. If they don't, I hope they just leave us alone, because otherwise it will take so long. Ugh, such chaos. Just leave us alone! We don't have back thrusters yet. We do have side thrusters now. Oh dear. I think someone is firing a laser. Oh no, no, get away, get away! There you go, come on, away from those plants! No. Oh dear. I don't want to get stuck. There you go, get away from them. You can actually lodge yourself into those structures or plant-like thingies and just get stuck and not be able to get out. It's so annoying. But it's also unavoidable. Ooh. I would say that this shape is definitely a lot nicer than what we originally had. We have a nice shape now. Actually, almost a pentagram. Almost. Not quite. I think we're done. I think our ship, yeah, it's formed now. Oh, it's plenty nimble. It's plenty nimble. And there you go. See, that's what I mean. This design works a lot better. I wonder actually if we can make a melee kill. Well, in general, we don't need to make a kill. We can also just, see? Smash into those blocks. Oh dear. And lose a whole section of our ship. Because Helios. Later I will probably be trying to make full circled ones, and if you make a completely round ship, it might look plain as heck. It may completely defeat the purpose of being a Helios, but your ship will be a lot stronger, because everything can just regenerate from another. It's so much more reliable. Otherwise you will be constantly forcing yourself into all kinds of nooks and crannies you don't want to. I think these are the contestants, and I don't think we'll be able to live through that. I'm gonna take a look for a second. Yeah, are those actually the contestants? Yeah, those are the contestants. Gosh darn it, contestants are very much killing us right now. Which is actually not that strange, because the contestants is a non-playable faction. It is a very curious faction for a few reasons. But there's a big issue with them. That's the fact that they actually have randomly floating around ships that just are very much around your level and are very much above your level when you're starting off. So, if you're just starting off, you don't want to start with them. You're not... It's really not going to work out for you. I think this thing is stuck. Oh dear. Well, let's go down then. What's down actually? Let's switch... Oh dear. No! No, don't tell me! No! Why me? No! Oh, this is what I mean. This is what I mean. And that's not the fault of the mod, that's the fault of Reassembly itself, because you can actually get yourself launched into this stuff. For whatever reason. But I do see movement. I do see a little bit of movement. Maybe, just maybe, if we put those on right mouse button and rename it, because Spike 1. We can actually, there we go. We can fire those things manually and actually get away from it, because we were launched in with the spikes. That's annoying. It's really annoying. Oh dear. Oh, you can actually. Yeah. So. Helios. What faction is this down here? Crystal plants! I'm not sure how to respond to that. I really don't know if I should be glad about that or very frustrated, because I have no idea what they actually are able to do. Oh, great. Can I just kill myself? No, I can't. Of course I can't, because... Wait, what the... Oh, there's an import. You know what? I'll just do this. I'll do... this. Poof. I'll do this again. This again. And there we go. And that's how we free ourselves. No, please don't crash into me. We are so likely to get stuck together again. It happened to me so often with Helios, it's not even fun anymore. Now we can actually wiggle ourselves forward. Come on. Create the shape. All the thrusters are on the back, so unless those are actually built... Oh, there we go. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. No. I do not enjoy that. I do not enjoy those lasers either. Or those rockets, I mean. Those lasers I do enjoy because those protect me. Oh dear. What a mess. That's just for the first episode. Dear Lord. Yes, are we safe again? We are sort of. Someone is firing a laser again, I think, so we are slowing down again. And we're speeding up again because the laser ends. I don't know if we are able actually to get in there. I don't know. Oh, there you can see how those rockets are actually trying to aim somewhat. Oh yes, we are able, come on. Activate it. Yes, there we go. Now get out of here. Get out of here. Yes, we got him. Oh boy. If only we had some art to drop off, but we really don't. I want to activate one more station. That happens to be over here. So let's hope we can actually navigate over there, because we're going to need a lot of P, and that means a lot of credits before we can actually properly start to take care of business. I think actually that I will start off very soon with a spinner ship. And that might sound very crazy after what you've seen last episode, the tournament, where the spinner ship was one of the weakest links. But I have tried spinner ships with the Helios faction, and they are fun. Oh yes. Those little cyst thingies, those little spiky plant signature thingies. Oh yes, those things really start to make a havoc the moment you apply them on the spinner ship. Oh, there you go. There you witness it. That's what's slowing this game down. Ah, I think that's actually crystalline. Oh, there we go again. There's really no reason why that laser should last that long, but I guess they just thought, oh, it looks nice. It looks so impressive. It really looks like a death ray. And yes, it does look like a death ray, but it also slows the game down immensely. And that's no fun. Oh, some free pickups. If it's free, it's nice. Or so many people over here in the Netherlands would say. What? It's free? How many can it take? Just take one, please. And most of the time, you do grab two, regardless of that. Free handouts? Yep, as many as you can give. You might call that morally corrupt, but I don't know. People seem to be rather accustomed to it by now. Either that, or they really don't pay mind to it. There you go. Some nice carnage done by ourselves. Oh dear, we got hit in a weak spot. No, get away you. Get away. We really can't deal with rockets yet. We can't deal with rockets yet, so you need to get out of the way. Because rockets will freaking wreck us. No, get out of here. I just want to activate the station. Just let me activate the station. Yes, there we go. And destroyed. Perfect. Oh, a nice note to end it on. Oh dear. Alright, that's a nice note to end it on. Can drop this a little bit of R off. 3,000 credits. Well, it'll have to do for next time, because this is all for this episode. Again, this is the Helios faction. I've been your host, Spirit Balance Holder, and I hope you all have a great day today.